Hi everyone, let's talk about Underwater Cities, the new game from Vladimir Suhi, releasing at Essenspiel 2018. Vladimir's games in the past I have loved. Pulsar 2849, Last Will, Shipyard, Prodigal's Club, especially Shipyard. It's going to be coming up one of these days, don't you worry. But yeah, I absolutely love his games, and this is no exception. I was really excited just based on that pedigree. I vaguely knew about the theme. I like that. a nice rapture stroke Little Mermaid setting. But yeah, the designer pedigree is what's put this really high on my radar. High on your radar? Yes. But playing the game now, I have absolutely loved it. I love it doesn't seem like I can't really. There's a thread on Board Game Geek where some people are saying, what kind of sets it apart from these other games, and just saying that, well, you're choosing this action and playing this card at the same time, and if the card color matches the action color, you get to play the card. It doesn't sound like a really big thing, but I can't really get across that when you're playing the game. It is such a tense decision, and to begin with, you are just taking actions that, well, I'll kind of do this. I can see that the government contracts, if you're playing with those, are asking me to go in a certain way. My Metropolis cards might be asking me to go in a certain way. But, the cards in my hand, I've got this green one. This green action seems kind of nice. I'll start building my engine that way. You can be more loose about it in the beginning. And then later on, certainly towards the very end, or certainly as you are approaching production, you are having to make these really agonizing decisions that, well, I haven't got enough food to feed my people for this production, and I'm going to be losing a load of points for it. Maybe I should just take this action and get a kelp and save me from all of this. But, could I get more points by doing it the other way? Is it worth just, I have to play the card anyway, even though it doesn't match the color, it's just getting discarded and I don't get the action from it. It's a really tense decision, and I love it. And it's made, it's focused in on you that you can only have 3 cards, that you have to make these really tough choices. It's good that you don't have to decide at the end of your turn, because for a start, it means that other people can get on with their turn before you've made the decision of what cards you're keeping. But also, you can base that decision based on what they have done. If you were only keeping a card because an action's free, you might just, if they've taken that action space, you might just think, well, get rid of that then, because I can't keep it for the next round. I need to do something right now. And having this really, really tight limit, 3 cards is tough, especially if you want to keep your options open, as it suggests for your first games anyway, that you kind of want to have a card of each color just in case you want to decide to do a different thing. If your cards, if everything that you kept is just green cards, then you better hope those actions stay open, or you're going to be forced to use use a card to draw 2 cards and get some money action, which is never ideal, is it? I like the touch of, we've all got slightly different player boards in the side A's, but in the side B's, it can multiply your scoring. It can have costs to build certain tunnel or certain city spaces, but give you big benefits as well. I like that even though it's a variant, the government contract gives you these goals to shoot for early on, and I really like that element to it, because it can, as I mentioned, it can be a bit loose in the start, and you can kind of just, okay, well, I'll just go in this direction. But having those government contracts that we're competing for can kind of give us this little race in the start that kind of then gives you your setup to continue with for the rest of the game. It's, standard action selection is, it's kind of worker placement. We're blocking off these spaces and trying to take these actions. I like the kind of tiered way that they go as well. That's, the green actions are not very powerful, but the green cards are really powerful. And red, both kind of even. Orange, action spaces, really strong. Cards, not so much. So that's kind of adding to that decision of what you're going to do. Taking a green action and not getting a card match probably is going to be the weakest thing you can do, but maybe because of the cards that you've got out, moving up that Federation track is the most important thing that you're going to do this game. I really like the look of the game. It's got a nice sense of humor in the artwork as well. That's, there's one where a woman is stood in front of a poster that's got, the Uncle Sam, I want you, but he's got a great big diving helmet on. It's got a bit of a quirky sense of humor in the art, and yeah, I love the engine building aspect of it as well. Not only are you building up all of these cards with these ongoing powers, adding to your production, maybe giving you some end game scoring bonuses, you are building up. It's all individual. You're not building a communal thing, but you're building up your own underwater network and trying to connect all of these cities to, and being pulled in different directions by that as well. by, do you shoot for these Metropolis bonuses now? Do you make sure that you get your endgame Metropolis scoring? Do you go on a bit of a detour because it's going to get you some Federation track movement, or it's going to get you some resources right now that you really need? There are so many things pulling you in all sorts of directions. It does say in the manual even that don't worry too much if you have to take a resource that you don't think you need right now. You'll probably need it somewhere along the line. Everything is good. It's, might put people off that don't like, a ton of different ways to score, a ton of different directions to go. But yeah, it definitely doesn't feel, in the beginning, as I mentioned, it can kind of seem like you can go anywhere, but very quickly it does get laser focused, and yeah, you really, really need certain things to happen before production happens, and then you've got a load of unconnected things, or you've got a load of cities that you've connected up but now can't feed. I would say that going against it, it's definitely longer than I expected. It's got 10 rounds in the game, and each of those rounds you are playing 3 cards and doing 3 actions, and especially as you get 4 of those before the first production, when you are kind of just a bit more easygoing about it all, but especially towards the end of the game, those turns get longer and longer. And yeah, the first game is always going to be longer, but that took us probably around 2 hours. That's like kind of the upper limit of what we were playing. But at the same time of saying that, it got quicker as we played again. But having said that, it's not like, oh, it's a round too long. No, it just took us longer than I thought. I was still engrossed in playing it, but was surprised at that it was a bit longer than we expected. So it's something worth knowing, but not something that I'd like to change about the game at all. And yeah, you can kind of, even though you only have 3 cards, sometimes when you do end up with these handfuls before the start of your turn and you're trying to decide what is going to happen with them, I can see that being a bit overwhelming. But maybe again, while you're inexperienced with the game, while you're new to it, just having all of these new card effects come at you may be a little bit much in some turns. But that's kind of, you've taken the actions to draw all of these cards or use the cards for them, and it's not like every single card is absolutely unique. It's, some are just variations on them. That, okay, this one you pay a credit to get a Steel Blast, this one you pay a credit to get a Science, for example. It's not like every single card is going to have a completely new thing for you to learn. You'll get to grips with the game fairly easily, I think. Overall, though, I'm just kind of reaching for these things because I can't say how much I really enjoyed this game. It's just absolutely fantastic, and I, kind of left this to the end. Hopefully, people have been sick of listening to me by now and clicked off. But I would be very surprised if this doesn't make my top 10 games of the year, because I've been absolutely blown away by it and loved every second of playing it, and can't wait to see the final version. And I think there's a little mini expansion at Essen. Can't wait to see everything that is going to be there, because I think this is absolutely brilliant. Hopefully, the playthrough gives you an idea of what I see in it. You can watch it in static cam if you don't like the shakiness anymore. But yeah, it was massive, and I don't expect you to watch all of it, but hopefully you can get some kind of idea as to whether you would be interested in Underwater Cities from that, because I'm apparently losing the ability to say cities. I've been talking for so long. Yeah, a lot of videos today. But okay, I descended into gibberish. Let's end the video properly. Yeah, the playthrough is there. Hopefully that will do a much better job at helping you decide whether it will be for you, rather than just what I think about it and my babbling. Loads of playthroughs, subscribe to the channel and you'll see hundreds of things, loads coming up in the run-through to Essen, but I hope this has been some use to you. There's a static cam option in the playthrough as well, I meant to mention that. Thank you for watching this video. I will end it now before I babble on any more. Bye!